us. I really appreciate it. I know you and I was in the audience when you were on stage at the MBA's IMB conference. And so excited to have you here talking about especially technology and innovation, because I know we're going to talk a lot about what you guys built and how you look at serving your loan officers and your communities through technology, but also just those larger industry issues at scale, like how, you're running IMB. What are you seeing out there and what are you hearing? So we call it Real Fridays, so you can say whatever you want.
Cool. I appreciate it. Right. You're ready to get going. You guys let me know.
Yeah. Thanks for that. Yeah, Jeremy, want to kick it off?
Yeah, Brock and I were talking earlier this week about some of the things we wanted to ask you. And I think building technology is a great place to start. And so my question, just to kick it off, is, you one of the things Rick was mentioning that you've done is build a POS for your team and your company.
A big point of sale, a big POS.
Big, that's right, big POS. Because I do appreciate that. Yeah, exactly. Big. So let's start there then. My question was like, why? Right? It's a crowded space. What did you see that led you to believe that nothing out there was serving your needs? And how was the reception to the big POS?
And we believed in it so much we even made our mascot Poopsie.
The emoji. Perfect.
So, it comes down to something very simple. I've always believed in the mixture of technology and mortgage. It's actually my business partner, Joe, and I, it's what defined both of our careers, that we were always tech guys that did mortgage operations and mortgage operational management, like branch recruiting and branch oversight. And I saw some great technology getting built from 2014 to 2020. But it just wasn't allowed to customize. It wasn't customizable to the way we needed it. And, I'm sitting here as the executive of a mortgage lender, and I'm thinking about the point of sale space in 2019 and 2020. I said to myself, wow, who uses a point of sale system? Our customers use it, meaning our borrowers, our loan officers use it, and our real estate referral partners use it to track the application. And when I was going to these point of sale providers, I saw something that kind of concerned me as an executive. I was asking them, well, could you ask what your favorite color is? Could you ask, do you use a CPA? Could you ask Starbucks or Dunkin'? Could you ask, do you watch movies or read books? And they're like, no, why would you ever want to ask that? And I'm like, I don't know, to get to know my customer. And I want to post that to a custom field in Encompass. And I was getting no, or custom development. And I was realizing that I was going to hand over my entire user experience for my customer, my loan officer, and my real estate agent to a third party that I had no control over. Not only no control over, that I was getting the answer of, no, you can't do that. No, you can't custom tailor it. Or if the answer was yes, it was going to come with a very big bill. So I said to my business partner, Joe, I said, dude, I think we need to build a point of sale system. And he was like, adamantly against. He was like, no way, dude, because I know how you're going to get. You're going to have these crazy ideas. We're going to have to build it in program. I'm like, no, listen, if we can do it from an independent mortgage banker perspective, and we don't just do it here at Absolute, we release it to the industry. What it winds up being is a independent mortgage banker owned think tank that we can all collaborate and customize together. And if we make it open source, if we make it where the community of Encompass admins can go in and build with us, then we can wind up having this technology that grows with each mortgage company, where each company has their own individual environment where they can program their ideas into, but we can collaborate. Because what I saw was point of sale was a little different than Encompass, that it was like a one shoe fits all model, that it was not only one application for the whole company, but kind of one application format for the whole industry. Yeah. And what I saw inside of my own company was I go into a branch and one loan officer at one desk does things different than another loan officer at another desk. One loan officer might say, dude, I got the best application methodology. Every time I get a referral, I get the customer on the phone. I do a deep dive, half-hour consultation. I ask about all their goals. And then I get them off the phone. I go into Encompass. I key that data in. And then I get them back on the phone and give them their whole proposal. And I have the best strategy here because I developed the most rapport. And I go to the next LO at the next desk and he goes, Matt, I got the best system. I don't even talk to the customers up front. I get the referral. I trigger out my online app link. They do the full application. They upload their docs. I have my real estate agents trained to send the link out. I have the best system because I can do the most volume. And here's the thing, guys. They're both right in their own respects. Everybody's got a different style. And then I looked at consumers and I said, wow, look at the marketplace. You have boomers, Gen Xers, millennials, Zs, and then soon to be alphas coming into the home ownership market, right? Another 5-6 years, by 2030, we're going to see Gen Alpha enter. And each one of these subsets could not be more different. And even the geographic demographics of different borrower ethnicities have different styles. I look at my Florida branch offices, and it's a big Hispanic client base, and they like coming in for an application. So I said, wow, we need a system that has loan officer choice and consumer choice. Some might want to apply on the phone. Some might want to come in. Some people, if you look behind me, might want to apply on a kiosk in a real estate office. So we came out with hardware too that paired to the software. So like my why about the software was I want to be in the driver's seat of innovation. And I want more than anything software designed by mortgage bankers for mortgage bankers. When you look at the rapid development cycles we do, I can take a loan officer and put them on the phone with a source code developer within 10 minutes. And we can get a developer to release a piece of code, and then I have it in a loan officer's hands in a couple of minutes and testing it. And you look at every other company, how that has to happen. The loan officer has to report up to IT. IT has to go over to vendor management. The vendor management rep then has to go and talk to their development department. They have to go get it approved. And you wind up with this zigzag loop that 10 people get involved. And when it comes down to programming and engineering, a game of telephone doesn't work. You need, we call it farm to table programming, right? I need to get the loan officer to tie to the developer, and both of those to communicate with no middleman's involved other than a translator, somebody that actually knows the capability, like myself or Joe, that knows what the software is capable of, what code is capable of, and kind of filtering out our buffer in between. But that type of cycle that we've built allowed us to build the big point of sale, which was, people ask me all the time, dude, like, how did you build this so fast? Well, that's how we built it that fast. Is we always had internal developers at our software consulting company. And we then said, you know what, we're going to re-gear and we're going to build one of the most state-of-the-art point of sale systems to come to the market.
Yeah, I like your for mortgage bankers, right? So we talk about IMBs a lot. You're kind of like an FMB in that sense, like we're for mortgage bankers. One of the things I like about doing this show is like Brock has the real estate perspective. Rick brings, I would say, that core mortgage banking, especially retail perspective. And I tend to be the consumer voice. So it sounds like, and this is always really hard from product development perspective, because you've got three constituencies that you got to build for, and you've kind of thought about each one. But can you talk a little bit about being a CEO in this market? Like, it seems to me 99% of your competition is only thinking about the mortgage loan officer, right? That's who they build for. That's who they talk to. And then these other two groups, real estate and consumers, tend to get left out. You're saying you've pulled them in to technology. How does that change your leadership style or how you think about your business when almost everybody else is like MLO, MLO, MLO? I mean, if I have to see the acronym MLO again on LinkedIn, it's like all I see, which I get, and I'm excited about it. But there are other people in this ecosystem, like the consumer, at the end of the line. So how are you managing that?
Because that was our aha moment. Our aha moment was Joe and I focused on tweaking Encompass, over tweaking it. And we always said the LO is our customer. Remove every click.
It has to be.
And talking from LO to underwriting, so refined. And what happened was in 2020, the aha moment we had was we became our own consumers because rates were so low. We started refinancing our own houses. And even Joe and I started picking up the phone and started taking applications. And we said, oh my God, we've completely abandoned the consumer workflow process. And then we started looking at our data sources and we started tracking where data was coming in, where the referral source was coming in from. And we realized that you would typically think buyer agents make up 60% of your referrals. And we said, wow, buyer agents are actually 40% of our referrals. And another 45% of our referrals are actually past customers. We need to go and figure out a way to get more out of our past customers. And how you do that is consumer experience. So when I look at being an executive now in the modern world, it's really interesting because for my entire career, I've been an upmarket CEO, meaning that build, reinvest, innovate. If you look at my career from 2008 to 2022, it's been this upward journey of my mortgage company's growth, my technology abilities growth, my sales leadership growth. And then all of a sudden the industry went through a halt. And now we're saying, okay, growth isn't that easy because we don't have this ample supply of funds to keep dumping in and reinvesting. We now need to contract a little bit. We need to go look for all these efficiencies. And IT was always supposed to be our efficiency, yet the cost of manufacturing has done nothing but go up.
Yeah.
So while I'm in contraction mode, I still need to be able to go to my sales guys
and say,
hey, we have to still grow. We still have to innovate, but we have to do it on a fraction of what we did it before. And thank God we decided to do the point of sale system, because that's how we're innovating internally. Was we go to our loan officer and say, okay, guys, what's the biggest challenges? What's the gimmicks we need? And it's not, of course, we have all the DPA programs. Yeah, we got the cash to keys program. Yes, we have all the loan programs, but everybody has that now.
Yeah, that's not right. Yeah.
So how can we be different? So we started working on real estate agent tools to say, how can we innovate for our agent referral partners? And how can I walk into an office and show them something they've never seen before? And something that really helps them. And there was this second aha moment that I had. And what happened was I was out to dinner with a loan officer and a real estate agent. I had one of my top loan officers invite me to come out to dinner to meet his top producing agent. And let me tell you, it was a rough dinner. And I'll tell you why. Because I ate alone. Let me explain. These two got up from the table about 6 different times. Okay. Why? Because the phone rang. Oh, excuse me. I got to go.
Right.
Client,
yeah,
right?
yeah. This is more important. Yeah, sure.
Back down, and then the agent's phone. Oh, excuse me, it's a client. I got to go. Right. And I realized, oh my God, both of them have the same pains. And then I started thinking about, well, how we solve this problem for loan officers? We gave them a mobile app. We gave them a mobile UI. It's Sunday morning and they're at their kid's ball game and they get that phone call from an agent or client. Hey, I need that updated pre-approval. They don't have to run back to their laptop. They can generate it on their phone for 2 or 3 minutes rather than 10 or 15. And then I realized, oh, wow, isn't it interesting that the evolution of a loan officer over the past 10 years has moved towards 60-70% of applications are now done online.
Yeah.
And they ask
technology. Yeah.
Yeah. So they don't have to have that awkward questions of what's your name, what's your social, what's your hum to data, reading the credit.
Put this all in over here. Let's talk about the real deal. Yeah.
But now think about your real estate agents. So guys, interact with me for a second. You're a real estate agent. When you do a buyer consultation, what questions do you ask a customer?
What are we trying to get out of this? What's your goal?
What's
right?
Your goal,
what are we solving for? Yep. First question.
What type of house do you want? How many bedrooms? What area? Are you pre-approved? So let me ask you another question.
And that lines up with all, we talk about it every week here. That lines up with the vast majority of, especially first-time home buyers for the first time ever, are having the LO conversation first. So, so that's like been a major tuning of the process. Yeah.
Let's go back to that realtor for a second. When they do their consultation and they ask all these questions, what area, what school district, do you want a pool, not a pool? Where do they write it down?
Honestly, I don't think they do. I think it's just like I'm calculating in my head what I know I'm going to do in the MLS later. I'll put it all in the MLS later and pull your save search.
So I'm putting it in my head. Maybe I'm writing on a Post-it note. Maybe I'm writing on a chewing gum wrapper. It's getting thrown in the backseat of my car. Now, what does a loan officer have to do to get that chewing gum wrapper with the information written on it, or get that Post-it note? They have to be in front of them. Who are you working with? Let's go out to dinner.
What are we talking about?
Right.
Yeah. Tell me everything. Yeah.
So what we did was we recoded the point of sale system for our real estate agents, and we developed first of its kind buyer agent consultation forms, an online 1003 for realtors that links to our loan officer portals. And then we converted to an open house check-in system that every time somebody scans a QR code, checks into an open house. Every time our realtor goes and sends out their link to do a perfect home questionnaire rather than just the loan officer doing the online 1003, the LO and the agent get to collaborate in an online CRM, and the LO and agent get to work with the customer in a centralized portal.
So it projects out to both dashboards simultaneously. And if I get a ping because my dashboard just uploaded one of my share clients. And that agent in the big POS, they're seeing all of their deals with all of their LOs. Do you have agents like introducing the big POS to other loan officers because they want to stay inside their dashboard, or like how are you managing that relative to your LOs?
And it's sort of the same question, a little bit different. Like, are you also integrating with real estate CRMs so that they don't necessarily have to log into another place, or are you sort of competing with some of the mind share there as well?
Yeah, so a couple of things. One, it's a one-to-one association. So the agents have a relationship. The first loan officer introduces them to the system, and they have their portal with that loan officer, the referrals that are going to that loan officer. If you wind up with another mortgage company on a big point of sale, the agent would have another URL that they would use. So they have separate tracking portals. Separate tracking portals. We want to separate our clients out. The agent would have the same looking landing page, but they would gear to the customer to who they want to do business with in that market center. So it's really important that you're the first in line to get to that agent first on the software, because then the agents can be comfortable with using your platform the way it's set up. And then second, we do have a lead export system. We're not trying to grab that data from the realtors and hold it hostage. They can export it in CSV format or Excel format, and we have a Zapier integration. And Zapier will then allow you to go link up your own CRM. But you know what the interesting part we found was, Zapier is good, and the agents will link up to like Follow Up Boss or something like that, and they'll grab first name, last name, phone number, email address, but they're not going to have in their CRM our fields that we put in, like Starbucks or Dunkin', iPhone or Android, right? Pet names, stuff like that. So they'll wind up linking up their CRMs to get the contact information and the status of the loan, but they'll wind up still using ours because we have the better questionnaire sets and we have the better data tracking inside of our free CRM inside the portal we give them.
So I have a ton of questions here. I'm going to go in a couple different directions. So Brock, do you have anything before I take us off in a different direction?
Yeah, I'd just love to know how many realtors you have as active users at this point. I'm sure that's like the adoption's a little harder on that side, but from what you're saying, you seem to think it's going pretty well. So I'm curious, like what that looks like.
So we have hundreds of real estate offices on the platform. How we do things is Absolute is always our test bed, right? So we innovate and build the software. We test bed it at Absolute. They get to be first to market. The loan officers get it, and then we groom it, and then it goes out. So when you go look at the phased releases, big point of sale, Absolute's been using big point of sale for about 4 years now. It went into the market for open market on beta 2 years ago. And then last year, it's only been open market for enterprise version for the whole industry for the past year. It always had the realtor portal, which had the tracking system where you can track an application, send a referral. The portals we're talking about now that do the online applications for realtors, those came out last summer in beta. And this January in full release. So we're seeing maybe about 250 brokerages on it right now, and somewhere's around 800 to 900 agents. So it is still pretty new in the market, and that's where we're getting. We didn't want to blow it up too much because we're getting a lot of refinement in it, and we're learning a lot from the sample agents of saying, okay, I don't like the way this question is asked it that way. So we're looking at probably by this time next year, we'll be about 10,000 real estate agents on it. And the main reason is we've been building into the NAR lawsuit. So there's a lot of features coming out in that we're building to help out with the lawsuit settlement.
Yeah, always curious with the kind of real estate relationships, if you get 30% of an agent's business or even 50% of an agent's business, but it's split between a bunch of people that aren't using this POS, I wonder how hard the adoption is. But the more LOs you get on it, and then agents can use it multiple times over. I mean, it'll be a good growth curve, I'm sure.
Yeah, one of the questions I had was around measuring success, and like Brock's question on metrics is a good one. Like measuring how many real estate agents engage, how many real estate agents you have. I think that's a huge measure. One of the things that Greg Schur came on and talked about when we had him on was like within influencers, there's a pretty decent measurement process in place. I wouldn't say it's perfect, but you get to see impressions, you get to see followers, you get to see what led to conversion. You get to measure that. One of the things with, Starbucks versus Dunkin' is it's hard to know how much of my investment is translating into a delightful customer who's going to refer me, a delightful customer who's going to actually come back because they had a good experience. How this, you have the brand to think about, you have the technology to think about. And so like, obviously like, hey, we're doing this many loans. We have this many referral partners. We're growing revenue. There are some classic measurements. Where do you land? How are you measuring like this is actually the amount we've put into this, the way we're looking at it, we are differentiated and I know it's working. How do you even frame that up?
So, you have to look at one central repository. We call it single source of truth. Okay. Leveraging Encompass as your LOS as your central data center, and then layering these different components or tools onto it. If point of sale is the portal, right, and Encompass is the database and tracking system and the reporting engine, well, then you got to layer a couple of things on. Like, for example, we use experience.com, the old social survey. And then we added, once we came out the realtor portals, we started adding, satisfaction stuff. Hey, we saw that you said in your online questionnaire that you like Starbucks, right? So leave a review and we'll send you a Starbucks $5 free drink, right?
Yeah.
You can do that stuff to track, and then having that tracking come back and report back to Encompass, and then layering on a tool like Power BI to go and do reportable dashboards. The truth of the matter is most people don't have personality tracking fields inside of their Encompass.
Almost nobody does. Yeah.
Right. Are asking, do you like to eat out or do you like to cook in? Are you a foodie, right? Do you like to, what's your weekend look like? Are you exercising, right? Or are you hanging on the couch and watching a movie? You have to tell who a person is to custom tailor the experience. And you have to look at the tools in your toolbox too. Like, we are now working with Surefire, and Surefire is cool journey managements. And we're saying, wow, isn't it interesting that every customer has the same journey? We have one journey for everybody. Well, now we have personality fields. If somebody says they like golf, put them on the golf journey and just change the background images that their golf courses while they're going through the milestone journeys. Custom tailored processes, and then you'll see eventually what we're hoping is to see the data be increased on experience.com, the satisfaction surveys. We're going to start saying, hey, how do you feel this process was custom tailored to you?
So it's sort of like, what's next? What's next is, hey, now that we've got all this infrastructure in place, we have all this technology in place, now we can really start to dig in on a granular level, say, we did the granular work on the intro, the intake, the data now, and you haven't yet, but you're getting there on like, now we're going to look at the granular results and say, this looks like this is working, and we work really well with these personas. Got it.
Yeah. And POS can obviously mean a couple of different things. So like, what exactly kind of tasks does the consumer themselves do in your version of the POS?
Sure. We talk about the pillars of point of sale. What does it mean to be a point of sale system? So a point of sale system should collect an application, introduce a borrower to a portal. The portal should be able to collect documents, track the loan, and sign disclosures. And the same portal that you apply in should be the one you close in, and the one you reside in for the rest of your life for any future mortgage application. So if you ever come back to do your next application with your loan officer, you shouldn't have to start from scratch at the landing page. You should be able to log in, hit reapplication, and then it'll take your data from your last application and pre-populate it into the next application. That's the consumer side. The loan officer side, you need to be able to take an application from your cell phone. You need to be able to track your pipeline from your cell phone, generate a pre-approval on the fly, pull credit and AUS findings on the fly, and be able to give a full loan analysis while updating your referral partners.
Right. Nice. No, that makes sense. So the consumer-facing activities are kind of the same that you'd see doing an online application somewhere else, but then you also continue to keep it active when it comes time to sign documents, et cetera.
Yeah, it's the whole ecosphere of the borrower experience.
Let's flip the script a little bit. I've been really enjoying the way that this conversation is flowing. So let's go the other way. What's still bothering you? What's still annoying you? What's like the thing that's kind of standing in the way that you were like every day? This is like, or every week. I think about this. I think about changing it, taking it down. What are some of the things that are out there as in your business? Tech side, mortgage side, what's still bugging you? What's sticking in
You know, my mom asked me that question this past week, and I said, I can really go for some quantitative easing right now from the Fed.
Yeah, rates are it. Yeah. More houses on the market.
It's funny, you know, we tend to focus on, I do a lot of executive coaching. I do some stuff with Steve Scanlon. He's really great from Rewire. I talk to Tim Brahim a lot. And we talk about mindset and focusing on what you can control and what you can't control. I can't control housing inventory. I can't control rates. But there are some things we can control. We can control being diligent enough to motivating our salespeople to say, hey, the rate is sometimes bad because we think it's bad, but people are still buying houses. So, you know, what I would love to change more is some sales mindsets inside of my own organization and inside the general industry that, yes, it is rough. Yes, it's been 18 months of it. But it doesn't mean that we give up. It means that this is an opportunity and we have to keep fighting harder. We have to fight the hardest we can every single day, show up to work. And this is the time that it's not easy, but this is the time you hustle. So, you know, what I'm trying to change is mindset more than anything.
No, that makes sense. I've been looking at this quote. I saw this quote about a week ago and it's just been stuck in my head, which is like a Charles Darwin quote. It's not actually the strongest or the smartest that survive. It's the most adaptable. Mm-hmm. And I think that's kind of what you're saying, which is like, we're kind of seeing a personality split in a lot of the people who are out there talking about this business, about this industry, which is like the split being, hey, look, it's just adaptation. It's just the next thing. Like, what are we doing? And if you're not adapting, if this becomes about protectionist, I've seen a lot of that, both out of title, real estate, and mortgage. We just, you know, circle the wagon. We got to be protectionist. We have to get better protections. And then I've seen another perspective, which is value. How am I adding more value? If I can't add value the way that I used to, what is another way I can do it? And in some ways, it's like glass half empty, glass half full stuff. It's personality trait. But in other times, it's just like, how do you get up every morning and approach your business?
Yeah. You know, change management is hard on originators. And sometimes, you know, what's the most difficult, guys, is with top producers. You know, we'll change the color of a button in our system from red to blue sometimes, and everybody freaks out. They're like, "Oh, what do I do? You know, I can't click the button. It used to be red, now it's blue." We're like, "Click the button, see what happens." But it's a different color. I don't know what's going to happen, right? We are inherently, as professionals, and the more we grow as an adult, we just get into habitual habits, right? That we know our processes so well, they work. And I don't want to get out of the box. It's hard, and people are scared to learn something new. And I find it myself. I don't have a TikTok account. I just don't understand it. So I don't have it. Right? But, you know, like when I look at it, that's the best thing for an originator to do is adopt and embrace change. Because if you reject it, the industry is going to move past you, right? And that's so key that you have to embrace it. You have to evolve. It is hard. It's not going to be easy. But when you look back we all had to learn how to use Encompass one time, right? We all had to learn how to take our first 1003 at one time. It was just we were in a different mindset then. And what I was saying about top producers is sometimes they're the most difficult because they actually have a proven strategy that works, right? You know, I'll talk to different top producers and like, listen, Matt, you know, the stuff looks really good. Okay. But I'm not going to learn it because I don't have to, because guess what? I put up my 10 loans every single month and I've been consistent. And why change something if it's not broken? And they're not wrong, right? They have a proven methodology and strategy. But, you know, the way I look at it is, how is that going to allow you to grow in your business? Or are you always going to be stuck doing things the same exact way? What does your quality of life look like? And how is your quality of life going to be improved? Because that was one of my major motivating factors in being in control of the software, saying, I want to give back quality of life to loan officers. I want to make it that on the weekend when they get that phone call and they have to step away from that dinner table, I know that they can't not take the call from their top producer, but can I make that conversation go from 10 minutes to 2 minutes? Because if I can do that, then I gave them a better quality of life back.
Matt, so when you're painting a really nice picture of the two different things you're working on, kind of serving each other, right? Running a mortgage company that you're also using as the you know, beta ground kind of for the software company for the BIGPOS. have you had any scenarios yet, or do you anticipate having any scenarios where you kind of have to like prioritize one over the other, where the two are at odds at all? Obviously, like you're building it to serve people like yourselves, but we also all kind of have limited time and complicated time in the industry. So are those things ever at odds?
I have a secret weapon. His name's Joe Rodriguez. My COO is amazing. Me and him, we run both companies together. We're the CEO and COO of both companies. And we have a very interesting strategy and a good partnership. And our rule of thumb is Joe worries about running the company today. Everything that's happening today, making sure the wheels are on the bus at both, making sure the operations staffs are doing what they're supposed to be doing at both, and the developers on the tech side are doing what they're supposed to be doing. And there's nobody better than him. And what that allows me to do is my deal is I focus on everything that's from tomorrow to 5 years from now. I focus on steering the ships in the right direction, the vision and the general direction of both companies. And since the companies are so symbiotic, right, my role as the CEO of Absolute is to focus on making sure the vision and the path of the company is moving forward. We're innovating and we're outselling. Joe's job is to make sure that both of the machines are running properly. We stay in our lanes, but we communicate 15 times a day and we're always on the same page. So it's that strategic partnership that sits at the top that allows me to do it. And there is a third arm of what I work on, which is advocacy. I'm the president of the New Jersey Mortgage Bankers Association, vice president of Community Home Lenders of America. I'm actively involved in MBA. I'm always in Washington. And what I try to do is the reason I do that advocacy and I'm always down in Washington and figuring out what's going on is because I have my ear to the street and I know what's going to be coming down the pike from compliance side, from a regulatory side. And then we bring it back in-house here and we develop those solutions and we keep ourselves protected. So it is a lot of work. I'm not going to downplay it. And yes, it is hard to maintain both. But if you keep the role and the position the same at both of them, and they are reciprocal businesses, they all feed off of each other. It doesn't feel like three separate jobs. It's just one job then.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, especially. Go ahead.
I was just going to ask whether the other, like structurally with the big POS, do you guys have? Is it like owned by the same structure as Absolute? Is it kind of like that straightforward, or are you looking for other lenders to invest and like co-own it with you? I know you're kind of co-creating it with other lenders. Like, how far does that structure go?
Yeah, so the entities are completely separate from one another. They share executives. Just Joe and I are the shared executives. Separate EIN numbers, completely separate interfaces. There is no crossover between it. Absolute is a customer of Mortgage Automation Technologies. Also, all of it's self-funded from IMBs. So all of the investors that gave us the seed capital to actually go build the product are the first 5 beta customers of the platform. So, they have board of director seats. I'm not going to say any names who they are, but yes, if you go look at the customer lists, they are actively involved in the leadership roles and the engagement and the direction of the product, and they have influence over the roadmap and what happens with the developers. And we're always seeking new investors to come in, and they have a voice and seat at the table, right? You can be a customer, or you can, if you want to be more than a customer, you come in. We have a president of the company that has a very big successful track history of building and selling several financial technology investments, in the mortgage sector. And, that's how we kind of built the company and got the funding from it. We did it all internal. We crowdsourced from the industry out of the pain points they had with their other vendors.
You've given me a bunch of stuff to think about along those lines, because I think that there's a there with the industry always acting as competition, especially at the biggest IMBs, the top 5 to 10 IMBs. There's always a distrust among them, and you'll often see them suing each other. So that kind of like also plays into it, I suppose, a bit. But I really I don't know where that came from, but StreamYard also thinks that I should, right? Exactly. Yeah. Do something. So, but I think you're hitting on something, which is like, this is a way that the IMB kind of leverages strengths to compete, which is like, hey, we're all going to use this stuff anyway. We might as well build the tool we want it for each other. And yeah, we're going to compete for loan officers or leads in particular ways, but we might as well have that than some technology company trying to build something for us that isn't really understanding who we are will build something for us. It's really an interesting approach, and I want to think more about it because I'm sure there's complications that you're running into, but I also think it's a really powerful conviction that I haven't seen before, or at least at this scale, and I'm curious about it. So I really like.
I got to give credit to somebody for that. There's this guy, Justin DeMola. He's the president of Lenders.
Oh, yeah.
And he's become a really good friend of mine over the years. And he's the one that taught me this because I was very closed and potted in my mortgage company. And he got me out of that shell. And he's like, dude, you have to join Lenders One. I'm taking an executive role over there. You have to come and collaborate and start sharing your ideas. You can't stay in your box. And he like broke the mold of my mindset on that. And that's even how I met Rick, that I realized this concept through Lenders One, that generals can break bread and soldiers can go to war. That we are actually significantly stronger because we all have the same pain points. And you always hear that saying, it's lonely at the top. Well, it's actually not. If you can break that mold of saying, you know what, we're better together, that we can collaborate and talk about our pain points and develop solutions together, what's working for you, what's working for me, then let's have fair competition in the street. Let the loan officers go and see how they can leverage the tools that we have the best at each company and go earn the business. But while that's happening, the executives have to help each other out and make sure that these businesses are viable, strong, and they survive. Because market competition is the American way. You need healthy competition.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I tend to avoid sports analogies as often as I can because not everybody likes sports, and sports analogies don't land with everyone. But in this case, I think you're almost describing like the NBA, NFL model, which is, hey, the Roger Goodell works for the owners. The owners work together on the industry, on the product, but the players go out and compete against each other. These guys don't want to lose to each other. They want to win the Super Bowl, but at the same time, they understand we have to meet, we have to have collective approaches. We got to leverage technology. We have to leverage the media.
We got to help the league. We got to help the league win as well.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's an interesting.
The ones that don't do that are the ones that wind up losing. The ones that are like, no, I'm good in it just for myself, are the ones that get left out in the end of the day. You know,
well, maybe this is a good. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, it's good. Maybe this is a good last segment here, or last question, which is: so you were down in DC. You've got these advocacy roles across New Jersey and community lenders. Can you tell us what the one or two biggest issues that you advocated for this previous week, that you're going to be advocating for in the next quarter, maybe 2 quarters? What's the hot button that you see from where you sit?
So this was an interesting week for me because I was supposed to be at NAC, at National Advocacy Conference.
Oh, right.
The first one I missed because I had Encompass experience and I got big point of sale. So I had to go out to Vegas for that because I was speaking with Sarah Wheeler from HousingWire at the Encompass experience. So I actually missed NAC, but it doesn't mean I don't know what's going on. But the big thing is going to be the trigger bills right now. The trigger leads bill, the FICO increases, and everybody's talking about the NAR settlement. I've been ahead of the NAR settlement. I've been advocating on the lender side of the NAR settlement for about 18 months now. Like, I've been tried to stay ahead of it. I was the one. Like, I went to MBA. I talked to Justin Weissman and Bob Brooksman. I'm like, guys, have this on your radar.
This is happening. Yeah.
And for a while, even NAR was
Same here.
And I was like, no, this is going to be the big thing. And then it came to fruition. So if you follow me on LinkedIn or anything like that, you can go back through my timeline and see the past year and a half of it. But the big thing is going to be the trigger bills. The Basel III endgame regulations is going to be really big hot topics right now. And the FICO bi-merge, tri-merge, that our FICO scoring models with Vantage Score are changing. So those are the hot button issues going on for industry advocacy right now.
Yeah, right on. Well, thanks for joining us, man. This has been a great conversation. Like I said, I'm really going to be thoughtful around some of that. Let's build tools for each other and work with each other to build some of these tools to compete. One of the things I was thinking was, maybe this will be my last question. I'll give Brock the last word. You know, Encompass is an interesting one because it's not, I would say, built for, it's built for Encompass. It's built for ICE, right? And there's a reason they bought it. But it is the nervous system to, I don't know, 65% of the market. I don't know like what the number is. I'm sure they told everybody at ICE.
Plenty of the market, yeah.
So how do you think about that going forward, as like how accommodating they are, how much lenders want, or the group of trusted advisors you're building with other IMBs? How's that voice going to be, and what's going to be the outcome there in your view?
I think every software company goes through a natural evolution, right? If we go back and look at ICE through the years when they were Ellie Mae, the culture sometimes changes, but the software, in the same respect, the bigger they get, it gets better. I know that there's a lot of pain points in the industry with them. And are they indestructible? No, they know that. Look at what happened to BlackBerry, for example, right? So I don't think anybody, especially a publicly traded company, thinks that they're indestructible. But what I can tell you is the financial investments that have been made into that software is remarkable. And you're going to start seeing major enhancements coming out that I'm actually excited about, because they were in a little bit of a holding pattern for a while. If you looked at when they went public, and then they took it back, and then they had to go do the ICE acquisition. If you go look at that order of events, from 2017 to 2021, they were kind of in like a little bit of a holding pattern. And then the industry went wild, and they were trying to just handle what was going on, and innovation almost stopped a little bit industry-wide, because we were just trying to digest the business that they had. They're back on the roadmap, and they're pushing everything to the web right now. So I'm all in on ICE. In fact, the big point of sale is ICE Encompass is the only LOS we integrate into right now. And it was purpose built for that, where we can really enhance the borrower web experiences. I do think that there's some great competition out there in the LOS space. I'm not going to say that Encompass is the cheapest one in the market, right? There's definitely other low cost ones, but I can tell you at my mortgage company, we have invested so much into that infrastructure that, we are committed to them for the long term, and we're going to keep working and build it out. And this latest merger really got us some great tools. That's when we decided to get Surefire. We're seeing now with their DDA, their direct data management tools, really cool, enhanced and automated conditions. You're going to start seeing a lot more AI and web management tools out of them. So it's going to be a company to watch. And here's the thing: they have powerful financial backing now. ICE owns the stock exchange.
Of course, yeah. $65 billion company is what I heard. Yeah. That's what. So that's how you can afford Ted Lasso at your conference, right? That's how you.
Yeah. So they're definitely ones to watch, and they are all in on that product too. They do want to control that market, and I think that we're going to see some interesting stuff out of them.
Right on. Thanks again, Brock. Last word. What do you got?
No, that's it. I got to run and talk to more and more of our mortgage partners about all the NAR settlement stuff. Same as you guys are probably doing. So it's been a busy week around here.
Well, thanks for being on Real Fridays, Matt.
Just let me know.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Matt.
Good to talk to you. Take care. Good show, Rick. Bye.